Well, I thought I'd give you a little garden update. The last time I gave you a garden update, it was looking pretty poor. If you remember, we've had tons of rain. I'm talking about gully washers, frog chokers, frog stranglers, however you call it. We've been getting like 4 inches at a pop. And we've had to replant everything at least twice, some things 3 times, and I'm going to show you in a minute some stuff that needs to be replanted even a 4th time. But look at the corn. It is coming up gangbusters, and this is our, I guess I'd call it our main garden where we've got most variety. And I don't know if I'll show you on this update our other plot that you've seen before where we've got gardens, corn and peas. But look at the corn. Back behind the corn, we've got squash along the fence, and we're trying something new. We took our Ames action hoe and we got the grass out from underneath all the squash plants, and we've had some old bales of straw that we took. One bale did all of this, and we broke it apart and put it under the squash plants in hopes of preventing the grass from growing back. Now, what about hay seeds, you say? Well, we're not really concerned about it because, as some of you know, if you've been following me on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Alderman Farms, by the way, you know that we are just about to get back into the pig business. I am on a desperate search for some American guinea hog gilts. We hope there's going to be some born. We found a breeder not far away. So a couple months from now, hopefully we'll have some gilts and a little boar. But we're not worried about the seeds in this straw or hay, if there is any, because there'll come a time where we'll turn those pigs in here, and I promise you they will get every blade. We did that once before, and it was near the end of the planting season before we had to deal with grass in the garden. They're amazing little rototillers. We're so pleased with the size of the stalks on most of these corn plants, and we're not putting any chemical fertilizer. We're all natural here. So all we did was, as soon as the little corn came up, we came in and side dressed it with goat manure, and probably, I'm sure there's a little chicken poop in there too. And that's, the stalks are just super thick, and we like that. Snap beans are coming along, but you heard me mention at the beginning of this that we needed to replant some places. Well, look at here. In the middle of these rows, and that's where we just didn't have the drainage that we needed initially, and so some of those little plants drowned. So it looks like we actually have some growth there. We'll see if it catches up. There's a couple of bare spots on some of the farther snap bean rows. We may see if it's not too late to stick another bean in here and there. And the peas did terribly. We've got very sparse growth on our peas here and yonder, and Patty was frustrated and she said we may just plow it all in. So I don't know, that remains to be seen what we'll do with that. Patty normally grows all of her lettuce in a lettuce box, but she put some in a row this year, and it's coming along, growing a little slower than we expected, but it's kind of shady here in the second half of the day, so that may explain that, why it's not popping up as it should, but it's looking pretty and coming along. It'll be fine. A couple of more squash plants here that have exploded in growth, and Patty said we made a mistake there because you see it's growing to where it's covering up the path to walk around. So this is an area that had been covered with hay, probably manure seepage out of the barn, and you can see these tomato plants are ginormous, or getting there anyway. Got a little discoloration and a couple of wrinkled leaves. Not quite sure what that's about. Maybe some of you tomato experts like Pepper Bradford can comment and tell me what to think about that. But it actually almost look like they're returning to form, so I'm not sure. But we're pleased with the growth here. We've got a number of tomatoes, green tomatoes, already manifesting themselves, so that's encouraging. This is one of our favorite vegetables. It's called a spaghetti squash. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the spaghetti squash. I hadn't always been familiar with it, but it's a very interesting plant. Those are going to get considerably bigger, the ones you see hanging. And we always grow it on a fence. It does well there. And you bake them and you cut them open, and it's real stringy inside, hence the name spaghetti squash. And we actually use it sometimes in replacing pasta with like a red sauce. And it's very healthy, very good for you. You got to get past the texture when you expect it to be a noodle and it kind of crunches a little bit. But if you can get past that, it's delicious and we love it. I've also found out recently from a YouTuber that they dehydrate well. Might have learned that on Facebook, one or the other. Right next to that, we've got a nice looking row of pickling cucumbers. You can see all the blooms they're already putting out. I think Patty says she saw some little cucumbers appearing there, and so those will be good to go. This little spindly looking row of tomatoes, that's the tomato plants we tried to harvest or tried to save by moving them out of my so-called Back to Eden plot, the one in which I didn't follow directions and so it didn't work. Not that the method doesn't work, but you got to do what you're told to do, especially when you're starting a new one. The little pepper plants aren't looking so hot. They're putting out little skinny peppers, but they don't look too good. So I'm not sure what that's about. We'll give them a few more days to see if they perk up, and then try some type of remediation, I'm sure. And the garlic is in full bloom. Bees are buzzing. A couple of more tomato plants in this box. Some pepper plants. This is normally where Patty has her lettuce, as I mentioned before, but we kind of put most of the garlic here. So that's why she's putting lettuce in the rows. Here's our Oberhasli tree. I'm kidding, this is obviously not a vegetable, but that's Spree, and she just wondered what I was doing and wanted to stop in and say hi. Hi, Spree.